AI. Limit. We're talking today not about AI because way too many people are talking way too much about AI. I really don't care all that much about AI, but I do care about AI Limit, one of the latest Souls-likes recently released March 27th, and we're going to talk about it. AI Limit is an anime-styled Souls-like featuring a set character, a young-looking female named Orisa. Released on March 27th, 2025, it coincided with the release of the first Berserker Kazan and Atomfall, which may have contributed to obscuring this entry in the long list of games taking after the From Software formula. It is by no means a big budget game, but that isn't necessarily indicative of whether you'll enjoy the game or not. Recent releases have shown us that sometimes AAA or quadruple A can be far less enjoyable than budget or even indie titles, and many of them contain repulsive DEI elements. I'm happy to report that AI Limit has none of that DEI garbage, and that's always a good thing. But is this game a good thing? That's what I'm here to talk about. I'm Foxx with RealMarcFoxx, and this is the Foxx Experience.
Yes! That's awesome!
Before we get started, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell icon so you never miss a new Foxx video. My first experience with AI Limit was in playing the demo, which as of the release of this video is still available on Steam. I was out of town and stuck at a hotel for a bit, so I got on my Steam Deck, found AI Limit, and downloaded it. I played the entire demo, start to finish, in one sitting. It's not long, but it definitely left a good impression on me. I had almost forgotten about the game when I started seeing people talk about the full game's release on X. And speaking of X, don't forget to follow me on X, at RealMarcFoxx. Mark spelled with a C, 2 X's, and Fox. AI Limit sits at a high 90% very positive on Steam and an 8.1 Metacritic user score. As always, ignore the critic score. It's dominated by so-called professional games journalists, who are more accurately described as left-wing radicals pushing the woke agenda. They hate real gamers, and therefore we should ignore what they think about a game. As mentioned, you play as Orisa, a beautiful blader who is apparently immortal. That doesn't mean you won't die though, because die you will. It's not the hardest Souls-like, but it's definitely challenging at times. It feels a bit less polished than some titles from the bigger name developers, but I wouldn't call it janky. It's definitely not janky. The developer is Chinese studio Sense Games, and this is their only game published on Steam. Their website doesn't appear to work properly, and the only game listed on it is AI Limit. Presuming this is their first game for them, I have to give them credit for starting out strong. AI Limit immediately evokes a similar vibe to Code Vein, a game I've talked about before on this channel, though the games are different in many ways. AI Limit's world is mostly interconnected with some warp points disguised by things like subway trains. The visuals are solid, albeit with some bland and or low resolution textures. The performance on PC is also solid, with my frame rate well above 100 most of the time. I had all settings maxed out with motion blur turned off, because no real gamer uses motion blur. I'm running this game on my PC with an Intel Core i7-14700K, 32GB of DDR5 system RAM, and an RTX 4080 Super at 1440p. There were no options for upscaling or frame generation, which I don't use anyway. I prefer straight rasterization, no gimmicks, no AI, no fake frames, just render each real frame from the game engine, and hopefully it works out okay, at least be in 60 plus FPS. And in this case, obviously, it works fine. AI Limit comes in at just under 17 gigabytes, which is very reasonable size nowadays considering all of the 100 plus gig games that developers like to release. I have no necessary or recommended mods for you to install. The game is good as is. My playthrough of the game landed in at just over 10.5 hours, not counting the demo playthrough I did. I did not complete everything and left some content on the table, so your mileage may vary. The sound effects are excellent and the music punches well above its weight here. The voice acting is passable. Many lines are delivered with a pretty flat affect and can come across a bit stilted. It's never bad though, just not great. The Chinese voice acting sounds better to my ears, but I don't speak Chinese. I only know very little of it. While I spent nearly 3.5 years living in Japan, the two cultures are vastly different, with radically different languages that only somewhat share a common set of characters, each of which was simplified in a different manner after World War II. The Souls-like formula is here. You have bonfire-like checkpoints, unlockable shortcuts, a mostly interconnected world, and death comes with a penalty to your collected experience points. You can level up stats, and weapon damage is tied to specific stats. There are a variety of weapons to find, as well as some unique outfits to collect. Outfits are not just cosmetic, they function as armor with stats. My favorite is the maid outfit, but I'm sure I'm not alone in that. You can't customize the main character, but you can choose the aforementioned outfits separated into headgear and a body piece. You can find and equip different hairstyles, although you may want to pay more attention to the stats on your gear than just how it looks. Switching out gear based on the situation is ideal, as some gear will have much higher defense against certain elements. Like lightning, which this game loves to throw at you all the time. It feels like almost every other boss specializes in using lightning, so having a set of armor that has high lightning resistance or defense is pretty much the go-to for at least half of the boss battles in this game. That's the way it felt. The combat is pretty typical for Souls-like, with light and heavy attacks as well as a charged heavy. You can parry and riposte, but the parry is linked to a specific setup. Don't worry though, as you can change this on the fly from a parry, a shield, or a buff that drains some of your health to give you a bleed-like effect called Pierce. One thing that sets this game apart is sync rate, which is measured in a percentage. The higher your sync rate, the more damage you do. Attacking enemies increases your sync, and getting hit lowers it. Using special moves also drains it, including parries or blocking. You also have a cannon-like shot which saps that sync rate as well. The game's combat really shines during the mini-boss battles, some of which are truly intense. Learning their movesets is crucial to staying alive, as is popping your heals with that oh-so-familiar refillable healing resource. Instead of bonfires, you have branches, and you can enhance your healing resource by finding unique soil and using it at the branches. What is very noticeably missing here is a stamina or equivalent bar. There isn't one. You can run forever and attack as much as you'd like, but that doesn't take away the challenge. Instead of watching your stamina bar, you can just focus on attacking, dodging, parrying, blocking, and moving out of harm's way. It was actually really nice to not have to worry about stamina consumption. I don't dislike stamina systems as a whole, I just hate things like being drained and stunned or having to stop running to let my stamina refill. Not an issue here. When you die, it doesn't say you died or something similar. Instead, it displays Chinese characters with the English word sync. Yes, sync with a K. Did they mean to put sync with a C? Because I'm really not sure what they mean by sync. Is it like you are sinking, but we wouldn't just say sink, we would say you sank, but that still doesn't make any sense. So if you guys know why it says sync with a K when you die, please let me know in the comments section below, because I am really curious about that. Putting Orisa in the different outfits was fun, but don't expect anything too spicy here. This isn't Stellar Blade. Most of the outfits cover up her essential areas pretty well, although with the proper movement and camera positioning, you can catch a glimpse of her simple black thong panties. But come on guys, are we so pathetic as to spend time changing outfits on an anime-styled video game character and moving the camera around just to try to get a shot of her panties? Yes. Yes, we are. There are other characters in this world, not surprisingly, and some of them can assist you in boss battles, if you want them to. There are a couple characters whose side quests are optional, but necessary if you don't want the bad ending. I went in mostly blind and ended up with the bad ending. There are 3 endings in total, so if you want the best ending, do the character side quests. The story is much better than I thought it'd be. The setting is sci-fi post-apocalyptic, with most of humanity living in the last city on Earth, with many of them putting their faith in this new church. You will be entirely unsurprised to find that the church may not be a benevolent force for good. I know, shocking, a video game in which there is a church, and it turns out the church aren't the good guys. However, just know that the church isn't the only power at play here. And if you are a fan of sci-fi like an AI limit, then why not check out my novel New Tokyo? It's available on Amazon in Kindle, Kindle Unlimited, and paperback formats, and it is, of course, sci-fi. A little bit of cyberpunk in there. It's got all sorts of awesome stuff. There's even a brain implant where, they put a chip in people's brains and it enhances their ability to do different things. Nothing crazy. I tried to be pretty realistic with this, but there is a city built on top of a city in a futuristic Japan in the actual future, because I went forward in time in my time machine to see what would happen in Japan, and of course they built a city on top of Tokyo. So I wrote a story about it. Check it out, link is in the description. And there's even a free sample on Amazon, so give it a shot. I don't want to spoil much, so trust me when I say that if you like story, this game has it, just like my novel New Tokyo. The final battle was a truly epic spectacle and a very satisfying finish to this entry in the Souls-like genre. You collect mud and crystals throughout the game, each have their uses, and yes, I said mud. Why mud? I don't know, but you want this stuff. It's a collectible consumable that heals you, but it does not refill at the branches like your main healing item. You can collect material to upgrade your weapons, meaning that you'll want to experiment a bit early on to figure out which weapon best fits your preferred playstyle. I ultimately ended up going with a scythe weapon I got from a boss. Be aware that how you level up should be based on what weapons you plan to use. So, how was my experience of AI Limit? I loved it. I enjoyed the visually pleasing aesthetic, a graphical style that will continue to look good well into the future. The bright, cel-shaded art style is striking, making characters and enemies stand out from the rest of the world. Combat was solid, mostly fair, with a few brutally difficult encounters. The bosses were really fun for the most part, providing just enough challenge to require a few attempts to get past them. Some were a bit too easy, and others were a massive difficulty spike. This is becoming a common refrain when I talk about Souls-likes. So many of these devs feel like they need to put in at least a few insanely difficult bosses to make sure players die a bunch, so that they don't walk away telling people that this Souls-like was too easy. Because you don't want that. You don't want people saying your Souls-like is too easy. You want people saying your Souls-like is hard. Anime fans will find this game is right up their alley, with plenty of attractive female characters to encounter. The imagery of the game becomes increasingly more serious and foreboding as you progress, ultimately culminating in a truly epic final area leading to one of the most epic boss battles I've ever encountered in a Souls-like to date. While it does veer toward the typical anime-style JRPG storyline in some ways, it's not entirely predictable or expected. You won't be blown away and surprised by what's really going on in the story, and might even respond after the game's conclusion with, oh, they went that route. But don't worry, it's well done for what it is. So, what's my final conclusion? Ignore the woke access media like IGN. AI Limit is an amazing Souls-like title, and one every fan of the genre should play. If you're not sure you want to dive in, grab the demo and give it a shot. I think you'll find it more than worth the full asking price of $35, though as of the release of this video, it's 10% off on Steam at $31.49. As you all know by now, I don't give games numerical scores, but if I were to do that, I would give AI Limit an 8.5 out of 10. In fact, I considered giving it a 9, but it's just, well, it's not as polished as some of the other entries in the Souls genre, so an 8.5 feels right. But once again, as you know, I don't give game scores. I'm glad I bought it and played it, and if you like Souls-likes, I think you will be too. Have you played AI Limit? And if so, what did you think of it? Let me know in the comments section below. Thank you all so much for watching. It means a lot to me to see you here each and every video, so don't forget to like the video, leave a comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell icon, and if you really want to support me in a much bigger way, join the channel for as little as $1.99 a month. Or you can pick up a copy of my novel, link is in the description. Again, thank you so much for joining me, and as always, stay real, keep playing, and never forget, yesterday's tomorrow is today's today. I'll see you in the next one.